Hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Alex, and I'm an online business manager who helps you build systems and streamline your operations so you can manage your business from anywhere in the world. And today we're going to be talking about my signature framework that helps you organize your online business so that you can find anything in your online business within just a couple of 30 seconds. Right? So we want to be able to know where pieces of information in our business are located. So then when we need to start managing a team or, prepping for launches or doing all the things we're doing when it comes to our online business with ease. And the framework I'm teaching you today is a repeatable framework that you can use in various places in your online business versus one strict system that can't be replicated across multiple platforms. So for example, this framework can be used across your project management tools, regardless of the tool that you use. I recommend ClickUp, but this truly can be used for any. It can be used for your Canva account, your Google Drive account, all areas of your online business where you store assets. This framework can be used because the goal for this framework is to help you find anything in your online business within 30 seconds or less. So yeah, let's dive into the 4 main categories in your online business. So this framework consists of 4 different sections of your business. The first section is operations. This part of the framework is anything project management related, anything task management, anything team management, admin related, that goes inside of the operations folder or space. This is also where I store anything that's legal or bookkeeping related. So if you're not sure where those assets go, you can create an additional category for that as well. But for the purpose of this organization framework, I always keep it under operations and admin. And then the second section of your online business in this framework is the marketing category. So this category is where you store anything content creation related or collaboration related. So if you're working with other creators in any capacity, that information and those assets would be in a marketing folder, right? So in ClickUp, I recommend having a specific marketing space, and in there is where you store all of your content creation trackers and assets like that. Same with like Google Drive or Dropbox file or even Canva. I recommend having a separate space for marketing assets because Canva doesn't just use marketing assets. While that's a big bulk of it, it's not the only thing you use Canva for. And then the third category in this framework is offers. So these are the actual assets for the offer. Now this isn't deliverables for clients. We'll get to that in a second if you're a service provider. But if you are a service provider, for example, these are like the templates that you use for a service. Like if you do a VIP day and you work off of a document that you duplicate for every single client, to give you that framework for how you structure your VIP day, that template would be stored in the offers space. This is also where you would store like offer specific contracts, any kind of additional template or like welcome PDFs, onboarding PDFs, any kind of asset you use for that service, you would store in that file. So how I recommend structuring that, specifically in your Google Drive or like a Dropbox account, is have your offers folder, and then in that folder you'll have subfolders for each individual offer. You want a unique folder for each offer so you can easily see like where that information is supposed to go. If you just dump all of the assets for all of your offers into one folder titled offers, that could become pretty crazy pretty quick, especially if you're like the clients I attract who love to create a bunch of different stuff, right? So you want to have an additional subfolder for each individual offer to help you keep that organized. And if you run like a really big coaching program or have a really robust course that has a ton of different assets in each module, I recommend even going down a step further with that subfolder hierarchy and having that additional like module 1 folder, module 2 folder. So like it would be like a hierarchy of multiple subfolders. So offers folder, individual course name folder, and then multiple folders for each individual module. And then finally, the 4th category in this framework is clients. So this, of course, depends on if you take clients or not. If you're not someone who works with people either in a group or a one-on-one capacity, this may not apply to you. But how I like to organize client assets is by a people first approach. So I don't recommend organizing your client assets, like the deliverables you send to clients, by the offer first and then the client name. So like this is what I don't recommend. So if you have like a folder for June 2025 VIP days, so all of the VIP days you book for June 2025, don't put their names in there separately, or don't like have that nestled under that offer title. Instead, what I recommend doing is have one client folder, and then in there is just the first and last name of all of your clients. So it becomes this massive like filing cabinet for you to sort through, because then when you go in and you're looking for assets, you're usually looking for the person first, not the offer that they did first, right? And you might like go in if that person is like looking for a specific asset or following up on a specific asset, you want to easily access their name. And if you do it by offer first, you might forget like, oh, did I book them in June? Did I book them in April? Did I book them in May? Like you forget those things, right? Like you don't keep track of like specifically which month or that you book people in, or which cohort, if you have a group coaching program, you book people in. So what I recommend doing is just have this massive folder of all your client names. And then in that person's folder is where you would have like the individual services they work for you. So I would have a different folder for each service they book with you. So if they've booked multiple VIP days, you would have an individual folder for each individual VIP day. And then that will be a lot easier if you're, a year from now, they follow up on something, you just have to go in and look for their name. And then it also allows a little bit more flexibility in how you offer your services. If you're someone who likes to get creative in what kind of services you offer your people, this allows you that organizational framework so you still can keep yourself organized but allow yourself that creative freedom. And then with this framework, so those are the 4 main categories in an online business to organize pretty much everything into. One additional thing I recommend having is in each of those folders, have an archived folder. I don't recommend deleting anything. Obviously, like if you want to keep stuff, where would you sort that, right? So in each of these categories, I would recommend having a archive file, so then you can simply go in and just move anything that's related to that offer or that marketing asset, all of that, move that into the archived folder. This mainly goes for offers and maybe marketing assets and operations, but this doesn't really apply for clients. I wouldn't have like an archived clients folder unless you're like working with them on a retainer basis. But that's another conversation. And then a couple other categories you might want to consider within your organizational framework in like your Google Drive or your Canva account is 1, resources. So if you're in the online business world, I'm assuming you are someone who loves to also partake in learning different ways to improve yourself as an entrepreneur. So I know you probably have 1,000,001 resources in your Google Drive or in your Canva account for all the different templates or freebies you've downloaded over the years. So what I recommend doing is grabbing all of those resources that you've collected and put them into one folder titled resources. So these are purchased or freebie templates that like aren't yours individually, but you don't want to delete them. You might want to use them later on. So I recommend having a resources folder to save all of those assets in. One other thing you might want to have, assuming if your personal life is intertwined with your business life, as is most entrepreneurs, have a separate personal folder. I do warn you to be cautious with that and like try to separate business from personal as much as possible, just because it can get difficult to disentwine, to separate that as the years go on. But it's an inevitable, especially if you're like paying for certain accounts. It's like, I'm not going to pay for this twice if I want to use it for my personal life too. So if you do have like personal assets that you're using, make sure you have a separate folder for that, so it's not like mixed in with like your content marketing assets. So in essence, what your Google Drive should look like, to use this as an example, is you have like 4 main folders, maybe 5 if you have the resources folder, 6 if you have the personal folder, right? So that it shouldn't be like this massive dump. And then everything in your Google Drive should filter into one of those categories. If they don't, I would encourage you to think, how can they, right? So I'm trying to think of a couple of examples that wouldn't. Like I said earlier, bookkeeping stuff I think should go in operations/admin work. But apart from that, pretty much everything falls into one of these categories. And there you go. Those are the 4 categories I recommend using as a framework in your online business to organize anything from your Google Drive account, your Dropbox account, to your Canva account, your project management tool, to even your Zaps and Zapier, however you say it. If you have any questions in terms of implementing that in your business, please leave a comment in the description below, and I will happily answer those for you. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye.